Mr. Big Shot Chauncey Billups joins us now, former NBA Finals MVP, and we remind everybody that we're going to take you back out to Salt Lake City for post-game news conferences in a minute here. But first, Chauncey, past two games, Kevin Durant has looked like the MVP that he is. I know he's healthier, but what else has changed?
Well, I mean, he's confident. I mean, he's playing extremely well. I mean, the difference in this team and last year's team, you look at last year in the finals when Steph and Clay had a subpar series, didn't play that great. Now they have a guy that even if they don't play great, you got Kevin Durant there, and he can pull you out of any jam. I mean, he goes crazy tonight, has a phenomenal game. Draymond, double-double. He's going to have his typical numbers, but here's a guy right here in Kevin Durant that can score from every level. You look at him right there on the post-up. He knocks down threes in the pick and roll. He gets to the basket, gets and ones. There's nothing that he can't do on the offensive end of the basketball floor, and that's why they're a better team this year. Although they didn't win the 73 games this year, they're a better team to me.
Chauncey, Utah has played well in this series, and as I mentioned during the highlight, the results have not borne that out. Is this simply a case of Golden State being far more talented?
It's just that simple. I mean, Golden State's just a better team. I mean, they're more talented. They can beat you on so many different levels. I mean, we talk a lot about Kevin Durant and Steph and Clay and Draymond offensively, but it's the defensive end of the basketball court where they really excel. I mean, they play really well together. They hold this Jazz team to 91 points at home. And that's really, really tough to do. But the Jazz, I tell you what, they're playing well. They have 5 guys in double figures today. And Joe Johnson and Hood they weren't the typical players that they've been this postseason, and they needed them today. But that's all. You can put all of that on the Warriors. I mean, their defensive presence has been phenomenal.
Chauncey, I don't want to take any of the shine off of the Golden State win and their 3-0 series lead right now, but we saw an incident with Draymond Green during the game where he picked up a foul and he was chirping at the officials. And Jeff Van Gundy, as this was going on, was saying, you know, this is kind of an issue. He does a little bit too much of this, and maybe other teams don't do it as much as he does. And as Jeff was saying that, Draymond Green was teed up. At some point in the postseason, does it concern you at all that this is going to be a problem for Golden State?
I don't know that it'll be a problem, but it's something that you got to keep an eye on, right? I mean, he's their emotional leader. By the way, they lead off of his they lead off of his emotion. They really do. They feed off of that every single night. But he has to understand when it's too much. You know, tonight, I mean, he went crazy a little bit. A couple of the guys really couldn't calm him down, but he has to understand. I mean, especially thinking about last year in the finals. I mean, him not playing in Game 5 probably cost him a championship. And I know he probably felt bad about that all year. He's a guy that I know he takes these things very, very seriously. He has to control himself a little better, or at least have 1 or 2 guys that can go to him and say, okay, Draymond, that's enough. Let's calm down. Let's get back to work. And I think he'll be fine.
Well, it looked like Steph Curry was trying to do that, Chauncey, and it didn't work. So as someone who's been on the floor in situations like that, how would you go about getting that message across?
Well, it's funny. I'm well versed in this situation. I play with guys like Rasheed Wallace. In Denver, I play with Kenyon Martin. I play with guys that are very, very emotional. They wear their emotions on their sleeve out there. And I was a guy that they respected, you know, on a high level. So when I went to them and told them, okay, that was enough, then they usually settled down because I wouldn't always use that pass. Sometimes, you know, I let them do what they had to do, get it out, get it off of them. But there were also times that I felt like this game may imbalance or is a bigger deal than he thinks it is. And I have to go to him and say, all right, you said what you had to say. That's enough. Let's play ball. So I just don't know who the guy is on that team that can do it. But when you talk about the absence of Steve Kerr, maybe he's the only one that can do that.
Well, we know this. No team has ever overcome a 3-0 series deficit, and it sure does not look like the Utah Jazz are going to do it in this series. Chauncey Billups, many thanks.
Thank you.